Welcome back to Film Fanatics, where we talk about the movies that have us obsessed, excited, and inspired. I am Alan.
And I'm Gall, and this is our second episode dedicated to the great Tom Cruise, where we'll be talking all about Mission Impossible.
Great. We have a special guest here, Luke from Luke Reviews. Luke, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Very happy to be invited to this cruise extravaganza, a cruisapalooza, if you will. I'm ready to have quite a discussion about one of our favorite actors, I'm sure.
Yes, we don't talk about him in real life, but yes, definitely one of our favorite actors. Okay, are you guys ready for some impossible missions? There we go. So let's start the discussion with Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible came out in 1996. It was directed by Brian De Palma and written by Bruce Geller, and it starred Tom Cruise and John Voight. And it was based on a very popular at the time TV show. And now nobody has any idea that that was the case because everyone just knows it from the Tom Cruise movies. Luke, tell us a little bit about the first Mission Impossible. When did you watch it for the first time? Do you
Yeah,
remember?
so I watched them all and lead up to Fallout because I'd never seen a single one. I just kind of knew of their existence. And when I watched this one, like the one thing I knew, the one thing that everyone knows is the hanging scene where he's dangling from the wire, and that is still to this day maybe the most suspenseful and intense scene of the whole saga, if you
Oh,
will.
that still gives
Uh,
me vertigo when I watch it.
but I definitely enjoyed it.
When
Of
like the
course, the
glasses
franchise
drop.
has gone in a very different direction from what it used to be, very much so. But when we get to Dead Reckoning, I think the Dead Reckoning is very much akin to this first movie, and I really enjoyed the first movie.
Yeah, the first movie is really like I don't want to say basic because it's really good, but like more like paint by numbers, like you know, American agent that gets tagged with like disloyalty. People think that he did this horrible thing that happens in the beginning of the movie. We know that he didn't because he's like the hero of the movie. So he has to go on the run and has to go figure out who actually did it. And this movie is full of like twists and turns. It has the amazing use of something that I think this is the only franchise that still uses this, which is like masks for bad guys and good guys, and it's one of the best things ever put on a
The
film.
masks never get old, even in the
They're
seventh movie.
so fun. They're so fun, and it's crazy. We'll talk about it more when we get to the other movies, but like it kind of never gets old. They know exactly when to use that trick. They don't overuse it, and it all started here. Like this movie is great.
Yes.
Okay. Quick disclaimer to the viewers: I switched rooms for connection issues, and now it's all looking good. So, Mission Impossible. Similar to Luke, I did a watch of all of them, like kind of recently because of Dead Reckoning coming out. So I decided why not rewatch all of them. And I think even though it's not one of Brian De Palma's better movies, I think it's still fun. Like compared to the Pierce Brosnan movies that were coming out at that time, I think this is a lot better. Like the Pierce Brosnan Bond movies, this one holds up more. And I think this is also the only one
Mm,
where you actually see the IMF as an agency because everything onwards is like the IMF is 3 4 people, and they're
And
like
they
on the
get
run. He's on the
disavowed
run
every
at every.
time.
Yeah, and then Ethan goes on the run and he just like racks up the biggest criminal record of all time.
I want to push back because GoldenEye came out in '95, but whatever. Uh,
Ooh.
like almost the same year, and it was a fantastic Bond movie. But we move on. Um, one disclaimer: I watched this movie only once before my rewatch last month, um, and I hadn't watched before this rewatch I did last month the second and the third one. I watched the second and the third one for the first time last month. So let's get started and talk about the shittiest Mission Impossible movie of all time. Maybe one of the shittiest action movies of all time. Mission Impossible 2
I don't
from
disagree.
2000. Directed impeccably by John Woo, and ironically still written by Bruce Geller. No idea how that happened. And it stars, of
Oh, really?
course, Tom Cruise, Dougray Scott, and Thandwi Newton. And oh my god, this movie took about 5 years of my life. Like it took me 4 days to fucking finish it. I hated it every second of it.
I don't disagree with you, and no amount of Twitter revisionism will convince me that this is not an awful movie. And they only post like the same clip of him on the bike shooting the gun. Like yeah, but
I
in the
think
rest of the
Twitter
movie,
just
it's the
thinks
most
every
boring
movie
thing
before
you've ever seen.
2010 is good.
Exactly, and but I will thank this movie for because Dougray Scott actually turned down Wolverine to do this movie. So who
Oh,
knows how
thank
that
God.
would have gone? So there's one
Yeah,
silver
that would have
lining
been
to this
Thank
movie.
God.
because like
Oh,
in the first movie you have John Voight, who, although I do think like you could have revealed that he was alive a little later, I think it's a good twist and he serves as a good villain and he's like giving it his all and he's enjoyable in it. This one, the villain, he's here with like his Scottish accent and it's so annoying, bro. Like I
this
don't know
movie
how they
has
got
all
away
the
with it.
shittiest 2000 things ever. Like every second of this movie is like offensively 2000s. And
I
being
guess
alive
some of it
then,
works,
I
but
don't miss it. And I don't know anyone who actually misses it. Like this movie starts with like the shittiest like rock climbing montage, and it this montage ends with Tom Cruise throwing his glasses to the camera, and the glasses explode, and it's ridiculous, and I hate it.
you know what? That does come back in Fallout,
Wasn't
and
he
when
on
I
a
watched
plane right
Fallout for the first
before?
time, I was very happy about that. That the rock climbing came back at least somehow.
Yeah, but it looked good.
Wait, also
It
wasn't
didn't
the
look
plane
awful.
was he on a plane right before? And then like he it crashes and then he's just seen like rock climbing?
No, I think he was in
No,
a
it's he's just
helicopter, I
rock
think.
climbing.
Or no,
Oh
after
no,
he
he
gets
wasn't
it.
on the
I don't.
plane.
There's something about a helicopter. I
The
don't.
helicopter
I
gives
watched
him
this
the
movie like
glasses or
3 weeks
something.
ago, and I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, you got Tandy Newton here, who's an incredible actress. I mean, in my opinion, she gave one of the best TV performances that I've ever seen, and she's just wasted
Oh,
here.
great! So my power just went out, so that's fun.
Why
I
is
guess.
this happening? This is Luke is
So,
the only person we could do it this with and not get blacklisted from the world of podcasting.
so luckily I'm using my 4G, so we can go on.
How much battery do you have left?
54%. Let's do
Okay.
this.
Let's do this.
Okay, so yeah, this movie sucks absolute ass. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I will say that the
Anthony
scene that
Hopkins
made
was
me.
in it and still
He-
sucks.
but he has one of the best lines in the whole franchise. This is not this is not mission difficult. This is mission impossible. Mission difficult
Oh my
should be a walk in the
Wait, are
park
you
for you.
serious? Are you serious? Are
Yeah,
you
he says
kidding?
that. This is not mission
Oh my
difficult.
god,
This is mission impossible.
you're serious?
I'm serious. It's like the
My
best
god.
moment of the movie. This legendary actor shows
Oh
up for
man.
one scene and then he's gone. They should bring
Oh
him
man.
back for the next
Life.
movie.
So
We should.
I will say that the scene that made me like almost give up on this movie was that terrible scene that Tandy Newton is like chasing him or he's chasing her, and like
Yeah.
just the slow mo of them like looking at each other, and a romantic song starts playing for some reason, and I was just like, oh, for the love of God, I hope the truck would come in and just throw both of them off that fucking cliff. That's how much I hated it.
This was
Okay,
also, I think
score.
this was John Woo's next movie after Face Off, which Face Off is a fire action movie. And then you get this. It's like, come on.
Yeah. So ratings for this movie, I'll start 2 out of 10.
I think I have a 3 out of 10. We didn't mention the first one. I have it at the 8 out of 10.
I'm also 8 out of 10 for the first one.
Yeah, so I'm 8 for the first one. I'm 8 out of 10. This one I'm 4 out of 10.
Wow, what a big dip, huh?
Good balance.
At least
Okay,
it only
come
lasted
on,
one
let's.
movie, right?
Oh yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
actually this might be the reason why it got so good. Um,
You know,
so
all the great franchises that have like 4+ movies have the one that people unanimously agree that is bad. So
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about this
so
with Crystal Skull.
But I like
yeah,
Crystal Skull. Dial
I
of
like
Destiny is
Crystal
like
Skull too.
a
Thank
good
you.
bit worse.
I also like Crystal Skull. Okay, so let's move on from that shit show and talk about an actually good movie. Mission Impossible took a 6 year break, and then J.J. Abrams came to fuck shit up, and fuck shit up he did because this movie is so freaking good. So in this movie, Ethan Hunt is actually engaged, and he's kind of trying to leave the super Bond life behind, and he has to do one last mission. Spoiler
One
alert:
last.
it's not his last mission, and for some reason, what's his name from Breaking Bad?
Jesse Pinkman, Aaron Paul.
Jesse
Oh
Pinkman
yeah,
plays
wait, Aaron Paul was there.
He was at the
Aaron
I
Paul
didn't
party.
plays
realize
his
this until I
brother-in-law
rewatched
for
it, and I
five
was like, "Holy
minutes.
shit!" Yeah, wait, that was wild when I
Okay,
rewatched
so
this
this
movie.
movie gets the franchise back into form. It's a great movie, great action. It gets you going right away with that amazing action scene with Kerry Russell. And yeah, J.J. Abrams is it's such he's such a great director, and
Is
I
he
think
though? Have you seen
yeah,
Super 8?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I love Super 8.
I disagree, but another day.
Oh, that's why you were saying because he's not a great.
I
No,
thought
I
you
think
were
he's a
saying on
great
And
like
he
the
did the Rise of
positive side.
Skywalker. Come on, guys. Can't
I
give him.
blame I blame Disney more for that
But he's
than
gonna
him.
make a Hot Wheels movie,
Yeah,
so I will forgive him if that is good.
I do think J.J. Abrams' style, like, it's very close-up heavy, but I kind of enjoy it. I enjoy that he exaggerates with the lens flares. I think he's a really good director, and I really like this one. I rewatched it, and I just think it's great. It hits the ground running. It's fun. Philip Seymour Hoffman was great. Michelle Monaghan, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, and Maggie Q are kind of the filler characters, in my opinion. But
I
they're also
didn't even
fine.
remember that
Ving
Maggie Q
Rhames.
was in it until you just said that. And I watched it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so you have the whole like break-in scene where he has to mask up as Philip Seymour Hoffman, which I think is really good. Um,
Oh, that scene is
and
fantastic.
Yeah, some great
yeah, and then
visual effects
also I
there when
think
they put the
Tom
mask on.
Cruise. Yeah, I think Tom Cruise. Watching all of these movies together, I think he has like an ego thing with Pretty Women. Like, do you guys remember when he rescues Carrie Russell and she goes, "Ethan, thank you," right before she dies? Like, I think he has a thing where he's trying to get these really intimate moments with women, like looking at him this way because he's producing the movies. Also, maybe I'm looking too into it, but having rewatched them all now, it's
No,
really
I
funny
think
to look
you're
at those
looking into
moments.
No,
them an appropriate amount.
yeah, I think this was also a criticism of the franchise for a long time that every movie he would bring this new like attractive woman and she would never come back. She would either die or she would just leave. Um like and that happened until I guess
Rogue
until Michelle
Nation.
Monaghan kinda, but like I don't think that counts.
Rebecca
But
Ferguson.
Yeah, Rebecca
until
Ferguson is
Rebecca
like the first
Ferguson,
one,
I
I'd
think she
say.
was the first one that was like main, and then they did it again. But we'll talk about that soon. Uh,
Oh, whoa,
so
it's too early on in the
uh,
episode.
so grades for this great movie. Why don't you start, Luke?
Yeah, I really enjoy this one. It's very different to the rest of them. It's not as big in action, if you will. It's much
Mhm.
more like in one room, or he's like Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, which is very random. Like I don't know if you guys remember
Oh,
that
I remember that
when
where
he's
he climbs up
infiltrating
and
the
he goes, "Humpty
Vatican.
Dumpty sat on the wall." I was like, what?
Yeah, this is very
I
out of
thought that
left
was
field,
so funny for some reason.
but it does
Like,
have
who's gonna hear
what I
this?
think it's maybe the best Ethan Hunt run that we've seen in any of these, where he has that
Oh,
long take along the canal or whatever.
oh yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
fantastic.
I'm giving this one also an 8 out of 10. It's slightly above the first one in my ranking.
Me too. I'll give it an 8 point like 25 just to be slightly better than the first one, I guess. Gal?
I'll give it an 8. I think it's better than the first movie. I think there's some great action, including the running you just mentioned, including like the heist scenes and the like missile going at the plane. I think that's honestly my favorite scene. It's like the bridge action scene, which I just love. And then of course, I just think he's really entertaining. Like, yeah, Julia's a bit of a damsel in distress, but I also think Michelle Monaghan did really good in the role. So I really enjoyed like
Yeah, I love
her.
Michelle Monaghan in like anything. So
She's
I was happy
wonderful
to
in
see
True
her.
Detective.
So
So yeah, I'd say 8 out of 10.
perfect. So now let's talk about actually the first Mission Impossible movie I ever watched. I watched it in the movie theater. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol from 2011. It stars, of course, Tom Cruise. This time, Jeremy Renner, Simon Pegg comes back. Paula Patton is the current woman for this one, but it also stars Leah Seydoux as another woman that don't, never comes back. So this movie is actually I really like the beginning of this movie because basically Tom Cruise kind of breaks into the Kremlin.
Even before that, there's a prison
Oh yeah,
scene
yeah, yeah,
where
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a
And
prison
there's
escape scene that's
and there's Josh
fantastic.
Holloway versus Lea Seydoux.
Exactly, that scene is also fantastic. But the story of this movie is basically the IMF is shut down for the first time uh, in the franchise because of the aforementioned bombing of the Kremlin, which causes like Ethan Hunt and all his new team, which again now includes Jeremy Renner, Simon Pegg, all that, to go rogue. Weirdly enough, because this is not Rogue Nation, and
he goes rogue in every movie. We
that's
just,
fair. He goes rogue in every movie.
just like
They
James
have to
Bond.
like clear the IMF's name, right?
And
And
destroy a bunch of
also
people.
yeah, and also his fiance from the last movie is allegedly dead now. So do with that what you will. So I'll start again. Like I said, this is the first Mission Impossible movie I ever watched, and it's by far one of the best ones. Like this movie made me fall in love with the franchise like right away, and this has I think the best scene in the franchise, which was that Vertigo scene that we were talking about, where he goes down the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, and still even watching it on my laptop, that still freaked me out when I was watching it, and in the movie theater it was like insane. So yeah, I love this movie so that much.
Yeah, this was also the first one that I watched. I mean, I saw it on a plane because I was like 9 when it came out, but I saw it on a plane a couple months after it came out. And this was right after I'd like really gotten into action blockbusters with the first Avengers being in theaters, and I just remember like from that first scene of Josh Holloway running out on the roof and then like falling on a cushion or whatever. I was like, oh, this is cool, and this was what introduced me to the franchise. And I just think it's so wonderful. It has this really great energy to it. Brad Bird, I think, managed to make a really good transition to live action after he did Incredibles and Ratatouille, which is something that you could argue Andrew Stanton like started off a lot rockier with after he did Finding Nemo, Wally, and then John Carter, which is terrible. But then he had to redeem himself with Stranger Things, of course. But back to Mission Impossible 4. You're right. Paula Patton is kind of the token woman in this one, but I do think she is great. She's really entertaining. I loved Leia
Yeah, she
Seydoux as the
kicks Leia Seydoux
female.
out of a window. It's very
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
one of
funny.
the best scenes in the movie. I
yeah. So
thought
when I
honestly
rewatched
when
that this week,
Go
So
first.
when I rewatched that this week and she kicked her off the balcony, I like replayed that like when she kicked her out the window. Like I replayed just that moment of her doing the kick because it was just so good.
So good. I think that was the scene that made me think when I was doing the rewatch because I hadn't watched all the movies in so long. When I did this rewatch last month, it made me think that she was gonna stay because she was so good in this movie and especially in that scene. I was like, oh, maybe she sticks around for another movie. I had no memory of Rogue Nation apparently, uh, but um, but yeah, I think she deserved another go. And who knows? Maybe he'll bring her back eventually because she's not dead, is she? I don't remember now
Oh,
actually.
I don't know. I
No,
don't think so.
she's just part of
No,
the
I don't think she's
team. Just,
dead. I
yay,
don't think
mission
she's dead.
accomplished. No, no, none of the main team dies. Like Tom Wilkinson, who's like the director of the Mr. Secretary, he gets blown up, but nobody else
Oh,
from the heroes really
we
die.
have lied.
He got his power back, you guys.
Man, I really enjoy this one. I think this is maybe the most important film in the franchise because it that this is the one where it realized like, okay, this franchise is gonna be with this fun team, these big action sequences, and saving the world and whatnot. And another decision that I think benefited the franchise greatly was adding more comedy to it, especially with Ethan Hunt. Like even right from the prison break, he's doing like the gestures to Benji, like "Come on, open the door,"
So
and
funny.
and like on the Burj Khalifa where he's just like I don't remember the line, but Jeremy Renner says something to him, and like he's like, "No shit." So
Oh
very
yeah,
I
because
think
enjoyable
it's just like
film.
it was like
it's a really high jump, or that's a really long jump. I
Yeah,
don't
exactly
remember.
when he has to jump back into the building. Yeah,
yeah, and
And
this
he
is the
does
one
like
where
so
the
yeah,
rope.
yeah, it's so good.
I think also
So
from this one on, they realized how important it is to have Simon Pegg around as Benji. Because, like you said, he gives so much comedy, so much charisma. I mean, Simon Pegg, everyone already loved him at this point for the Cornetto trilogy. And he was just like a very iconic British comedy guy. And so I love that he is one of the key players to come back in every one of the movies. Because, I mean, he's Simon Pegg. Like, he's never done, like,
you
even if
Simon
he's in
Pegg.
a bad movie, he's Simon Pegg.
Have you seen the interview where he tells Paul McClemente what to say in the? Have you not seen that?
I think I just saw that, but I don't really
It's
remember it
so.
well.
I'll send you the link. It's very funny.
please do. So I want to highlight another scene of this movie that like also what is one of the things that made me fall in love with this franchise. The running scene in this movie is so good because like is Tom Cruise trying to outrun a desert storm and he doesn't make it, but he was pretty close, I guess. And it intertwines with like a car chase between him and the villain, and that whole scene is like incredible. Um, the ending of
I think
this
the
movie
car
is
chase in the
really
desert
good.
is
It keeps
brilliant.
you on your seat. It keeps you like in the edge of your seat until like the last moment that they have to stop the bomb from going somewhere. I
It's
guess
gonna hit San Francisco. It's a
San
nuke,
Francisco,
but it's a
uh,
nuke that's gonna hit San Francisco, and
and like
maybe the best line in the movie is when he's mission accomplished and he hits the button.
oh yeah, it's so
Mission
good. And
accomplished.
the guy's like
Ta-da!
the guy, and I love that the guy's dying, and the last thing he sees is Ethan Hunt like fucking with him.
Yeah, that was
Um,
Michael Nyqvist as Hendrix, and he also played the villain in the first John Wick movie. He passed away a couple years ago, but he was. I just wish that they had
he
shown
did great
him
in this
before the
movie.
last 40 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so grades for Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. I'll go last because I think you guys are gonna think I'm gonna go too high maybe for this one.
I'm sitting at a solid 9 out of 10. So this is the one that jumps it for me. Like I've seen 4, 5, 6 that trilogy like so many times, but I haven't gone back to the first three films as much. So this is the one
Yeah,
where it steps it up
same
for
here.
me.
Yeah, for sure.
Ditto everything
Gal.
Luke just said, and 9 out of 10.
Okay, so for me this movie is a 9.75 out of 10.
We're
Oh,
doing the
It's almost
decimals.
the
I'm not doing
perfect.
the decimals.
Yes, I'm going. I'm bringing the decimals. I started doing that last episode when we talked about Indiana Jones, just to
no,
make
you
my
started
list.
doing that a while ago, like 6.25 out of 10. Like you've always been doing that.
Okay, whatever. So okay, 9.5. Fine, 9.5 out of 10. It's almost the perfect action movie for me. It's the action movie that made me fall in love with action movies. I think when I was like, I don't know, 12, 11. I have no idea. Um, and Yeah, I freaking love this movie. So then, 4 years later, we had another change of directors for the Mission Impossible franchise.
One that proved to
But
be
this
very beneficiary for the future.
exactly, and this one is kind of here to stay. He's directed the last three movies, and it's gonna direct the next one. It's my main man, Christopher McQuarrie. He also wrote this movie together with Bruce Geller and Drew Pearce. And this movie has CIA chief Hunley, which is he's played by Alec Baldwin. He's trying to convince the Senate to disband the IMF. That's kind of always the story, I guess. And Ethan Hunt basically goes in like a rogue mission to defeat a rogue organization. I guess that's why it's called Rogue Nation, which is described in the movies as the anti-IMF, and they have to destroy the anti-IMF. So, Luke, tell us what you think about this one.
Yeah, I think that for me, just to reveal, it's right up there with Ghost Protocol for me. I do prefer it a little bit, but it did get a lot of things right right off the bat. The opening, it's like nothing you've ever seen in this franchise. Like he's hanging on a plane. Like that's the
So
first thing
good.
you see. It's like the craziest thing in the movie, and we just never reached that height again. But it's still quite epic. And uh, and of course Rebecca Ferguson, which is one of the best things that happened to the franchise in general. Uh, she's
Mhm.
she's very much right up there with Ethan Hunt in this movie. But she has great action sequences. My personal favorite being in the opera, and we'll get to that. But yeah, for me, it just what keeps it like from that 5 star is the finale isn't quite as it doesn't quite live up to the rest of the film for me. But that's where Fallout comes in, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, I think that like you mentioned Rebecca Ferguson, she plays Ilsa Faust in this movie and the next two, and yeah, she's fantastic. She's right there with Ethan Hunt. She's like her action scenes are really good, but she also has like a really cool also rogue agent type of character arc in these movies that I really enjoy. And yeah, we'll talk more about her in Fallout because I think that's where she really gets to shine. But she's great in this one as well. And I agree with you partly because I do prefer Ghost Protocol, but like in general, this movie hits a lot of the right notes for me. And yeah, it's fantastic action. And you're right, one of the big problems with that amazing first scene is that it never reaches that level again in the whole movie. So that's definitely like an issue if you're doing the rewatch.
I actually don't prefer Ghost Protocol. I actually prefer this one. Um,
Yeah, I
I think
think
this
that's
one's
the
paced
more
a lot better.
normal opinion.
Really, I thought most people prefer Ghost Protocol. But I
I think it's
just love
fifty
this one.
fifty.
This is the first one that I saw in theaters. I was in London vacationing with my grandmas, and it was playing in IMAX. So we went to the BFI IMAX, which is one of the biggest IMAX screens in the world. It was a packed theater on the day it came out, and it was tons of fun. I think this one's even funnier than the previous ones. And you also got Rebecca Ferguson, who meshes perfectly with the team. Luther's not a cameo. I mean, he's always great, but we'll talk more about him
He's got
in
his
the
hat
next
and he's
one.
sitting down. That's what he does ever since this movie.
Yeah.
He just wears a
Um,
hat and sits.
yeah. And I just think, I think Ghost Protocol has some moments where, like, relative to this one, I don't think Ghost Protocol is like slow, but relative to this one, I think Rogue Nation just wastes no time and everything's moving. I think the colors are also beautiful. Like it's drenched in like this sun yellow, and I think every action scene here does reach those heights of the plane, because you have the opera, which I think is brilliant. It's a beautiful scene, and the diving scene, the motorcycles, and yeah, in both 4 and 5, the climax is sort of like dived a bit, but it's still enjoyable. It's still nice, and I also think they did a much better job with the villain. Solomon Lane, I think, is pretty solid, and Sean
You think
Yeah, I
Harris
would
it's
did
say he's a better villain than the one in
Solomon
Ghost
mid?
Protocol.
Solid? Solomon solid? I don't know.
Solomon Lane.
Ig-
Like, because
Ignore
he's
that.
not
Ignore
only in
that.
the last 40 minutes of the movie also. um but yeah,
And
and
he's
then you also have,
kind of like this shadowy figure throughout the like in the beginning of the movie. Um, like you know who he is, like almost from the beginning. But yeah, like I really like the dynamic that he has with Rebecca Ferguson, and you never know if she's actually like working from here for him, or if she's trying to betray him for MI6. So yeah, I like this movie's pretty great too. God, I love this
I was about to
franchise.
say actually, that like Ilsa's whole like alliances thing, and the fact that she has so much agency, I think helps break like the hot woman formula of the last movies, where she's just like, okay, I'm typing things, I'm helping with the mission. Like, as great as Paula Patton is, I just think Elsa Faust is one of the best characters of the whole franchise. Not up for debate, like top three.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I'm
I
glad
would
that
agree.
you
She's my
mentioned
second
the.
favorite of the franchise, right after
Yeah, I
Ethan
would say
Hunt.
it's him, her, and
Yeah,
Benji.
I
I
would
got a
agree.
shout out. I don't
Yeah.
know how we haven't done that yet, but like shout out, like maybe we did and I kind of missed it. Ving Rhames as Luther. He's so good, and I'm so glad he keeps coming back. Like almost every movie. I think he wasn't in the
No,
second and
he's in
third
all
one, right?
he's in all of them.
In
He's in
all of
all of
them.
them, but he has only a cameo in 4.
In
He's at the
four, it's
end.
the one that he's not in.
What's
Okay.
protocol? It's a cameo in the table at the end, where he's like, "Oh, me and Julia were actually in hiding this whole time. We weren't dead."
Yeah, I got really happy when I saw him in the end of four because I again my memory's so shit that I didn't remember that he came back in the other ones. Um, but yeah, like yeah, I just wanted to shout him out. And yeah,
Also,
this
Tom
movie's pretty great.
Hollander is the Prime Minister of the UK in this movie.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Shout
say
out to
that. I was gonna say
shout out to
like
Pirates of the Caribbean alumni, Tom Hollander.
the
And
like
then
the
he
ending
plays
of
three
this
other world
movie.
leaders in Kingsman.
Like the ending of this movie I think is pretty cool. Like I always love, like I said this before, how their use of masks, because they always kind of catch you by surprise. You always kind of forget that masks are in this movie, like until they are.
Yeah,
And it's so perfect, the way that they use it in the end of this one, um to sort of convince Alec Baldwin that that the Rogue Nation exists. And yeah, yeah, freaking great movie. I guess I'll start with the ratings. 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I just want to mention a moment where Gauls did say that it gets funnier, and it definitely does. My favorite being when after Tom Cruise almost drowned, Benji's like, You almost died." He's like, "What are you talking about?" And they just get in the car and drive off.
Oh, it's
It's
the funniest thing about that scene is that he's like, he's basically like, I'm fine, and then the Mission Impossible theme starts playing. He jumps off the car and then he falls down, and then the theme music stops, and I like barely laughed at that shit. Like,
I'm
and
pretty
I
sure that's
completely
the first
forgot.
scene in the trailer. Is them going, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!
mm,
A minute ago you were dead," and then I think that's how the trailer of the movie starts.
but no,
Also,
nine out of 10. 9 out of 10.
when Jeremy Renner at the end, when Alec Baldwin has to be like, "Oh, disavowing the IMF was just a ruse to expose the syndicate," and they're like, "What say you, Mister Brandt?" I can neither confirm nor deny any whatever. I
Yeah,
cannot hear that without remembering my whole audience laughing during that, because that was a very full circle ending. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for me too. Can rewatch it any day.
Okay,
I've seen
so
it 3 times.
nines all around. Now let's
Woo!
talk about what's considered the best Mission Impossible movie of all time, by a lot of fans. Why is it not working? Come on, come on. Are you guys seeing the correct thing in the bottom, or are you
It says
still?
Total
Yeah,
Recall. I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
why
It
it says
says
Total
Fallout.
Recall,
It
but
says Fallout.
Okay,
It
there we
says
go.
Fallout.
Uh, Perfect. So, wait. Mission Impossible Fallout came out in 2018. Again, directed by Christopher McQuarrie, co-written by him. I think this one is actually solely written by him. That's great.
Yeah,
Uh, he
you're
also
right.
he also produced it, of course, with Tom Cruise. Um, and this one stars Tom Cruise, a lot of people's or third favorite Mission Impossible characters of all time, Mr. Henry Cavill as August Walker, of course, being Rames, Simon Pegg, again, Rebecca Ferguson as Isla Faust, and Sean Harris is back as Solomon Lane in this one. They introduced Angela Bassett as the CIA head. They introduced Vanessa Kirby as the White Widow. Michelle Monaghan
daughter
comes
of
back.
Max from the first movie, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, she's the daughter of Vanessa Redgrave's character.
Um, her brother played by played by Frederick Schmidt. Yeah, this movie is like stacked, and also of course, Alec Baldwin comes back, and Wolf Blitzer has an incredible cameo in the beginning of the movie. That I guess we can start there. Um, Basically, this movie kind of takes place like incredibly close to the last one, and the story of this movie it's pivotal that you watch the last one. It's not like a lot of the Mission Impossible movies that you can kind of just jump in, because again, like I said, the villain is back in some way in this movie, and also the whole plot hinges on someone kind of continuing what he started in the movie before. We'll probably get to who that someone is pretty soon, but yeah, like I said, this movie introduces Henry Cavill, and this movie is, again, at least for me, like Ghost Protocol, one of the best action movies of all time. Like, since the first time that I watched it, all the surprises, like, again, they're usually pretty good. They were great here, like a whole other level, like the twists and turns. And yeah, I must agree, Henry Cavill is great in this movie. He's actually my third favorite Mission Impossible character, right after Rebecca
I want
Ferguson.
to actually say on that subject, Henry. When I rewatched it the day before I saw Dead Reckoning, Henry Cavill has this, when you know the twist, his acting is just brilliant. Because there's this scene where he's talking to Angela Bassett and he's trying to convince her that Ethan Hunt is John Lark. John Lark is the head of the
Yeah,
Apostles who are trying to destroy the world order, and he's trying to say how many times has Ethan's government disavowed him? The new world order needs to be brought down, etc. And like he's saying it as if to convince her this is what Ethan's thinking, but it's actually what he's thinking, and you see the rage come out when he's trying to do this, even though it's tactical. This whole speech, and I think Cavill's acting in that scene is brilliant. Or when he finally turns, like when Sean when he takes off the mask, Benji finally gets to use a mask in this movie when he was
yeah, that's a running gag in the
pretending to
other
be
one.
Ray, and then Cavill lets down his guard. He's like done being like the good CIA guy, and he's finally like showing his bad side. Just that turn, I think his acting was so good.
And he's such a good bad guy. Like after the turn, he's such a fucking asshole, and I love every single second of it.
Yeah, right from the beginning, like, when they meet, like they instantly just hate each other, like, and that just continues for the whole movie. Like even like that scene where they're about to do the Halo jump, like they're just, it's amazing to watch. And of course, you have the chase, which is probably the best chase in any of these movies. And then Henry Cavill, yeah, he's my personal favorite villain out of all the movies. He's just
Yeah,
Yeah, by
same
this
far.
here.
this muscular opposite force to Ethan Hunt. Like unstoppable object meets unstoppable force meets immovable object kind of situation. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's just the perfect villain for this sixth installment. So they keep it fresh with the villains every time. It's something else, and in Dead Reckoning, it's very much something else.
Yeah, I think that like Cavill in this one, he's also so funny. He really brings it up to like Tom Cruise's level in a way that none of the other villains do. I feel like he's actually the only villain that sits in the same table as Tom Cruise when it comes to like just the acting in the same movie and like the intensity and like the screen presence. I mean that scene that's been gift to hell of him going like this, like in the bathroom, like with everyone
He
knows that.
charged his arms.
Like that that meme single-handedly sold this movie to so many people, and it's like one of like it's so good when it happens, like knowing that it's a meme now. Like yeah, it's he's just having a really good time when he's being an asshole, and you just love to see it. And I also like his dynamic with both Hunt, Rebecca Ferguson, and the rest of the team. I think Cavill really brings his A game here, and I would dare to say that this is his best role ever. Even though I love
Oh,
him,
absolutely. Oh, for sure, for sure.
He just needs to be in more movies. Simple as that.
This is a
yeah,
movie that ruined just his career as Superman.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there
yeah,
was more
yeah,
to that, but yeah, it
yeah.
was
There's a
worth
lot
it. It was
more to that, but
it's a glorious piece of facial hair.
Well, also, do you guys
every
remember
time I
when
see his mustache, I'm like, oh, that's the
you
mustache.
guys first saw this movie, in the opening scene, did you think that like because I sort of thought that it was opening because the visual style of the movie is also a lot darker. The music is heavier. Lauren Balfe does a brilliant job. It's a lot more dry, and you feel like it's like grittier and something terrible could happen. So during the Wolf Blitzer scene, I thought like, oh, maybe the bombs had happened for
I
real,
was sure that
and
it
Yeah.
happened.
this is like the consequences of them failing. Like that's how
Even at the
Fallout is going
end
to
where
start.
it counts down to like 0 seconds and it's just white, I'm like, oh
Yeah,
no,
I thought
that,
they
that
failed
actually
again, but
happened.
Yeah, I
that's
thought
not
they
the
all
case.
died. Like you guys, I'm glad you guys are with me too, because this movie just does an amazing job of setting the danger, and it also keeps reminding you of what the apostles want and how they're going to do it. Which I think they do it a lot better, like the objective and the threat than the last movies.
Yeah,
Part of what makes this movie so amazing.
No, no, I'm glad you mentioned the opening because it is incredible. That whole it's like it's like regular spy scene. You're tricking the guy you want to get information out of, and then the big reveal, the walls fall down, and Benji comes through with the
Benji
mask,
takes the mask off,
and
goes his
then
wolf
the credits
blueprint.
roll. You know, like I love when a movie
Yeah, each time the credits get longer before the movie, and I
yeah.
love that they keep doing that, just like making it longer before
And there's a
the.
And they're
phrase that
so
Twitter
good.
has been using with this movie, and I do enjoy a phrase that every now and then that people come up with that this movie has the juice, like that's there's no better way of saying it.
Yeah, this movie has
It's just
the
like
correct vibe, as the
it's
kids
just
would
there's
say.
no dull moment in Fallout. Like whether it's the great helicopter stuff, which I think is beautifully shot because I rewatched it on Amazon, so they changed it to like I don't think I saw it in theaters in IMAX, but they changed it to like the IMAX aspect ratio during the
It's so
helicopter
good when
when
he's
I
running
rewatched
and
it.
you see the aspect ratio change like almost
Yeah,
live as he's running into that action scene. It's so good. Even watching it in my laptop screen, I noticed it when it happened, and it was like incredible. And yeah, this is just one of those things that like he takes the craft of like the visual storytelling to such a high level, especially Cruz and Christopher McQuarrie, that like you
Mhm.
really feel it, like you feel the
But
weight. What's
it's
happening?
even like the small like stylistic details that I love in this movie, like the song in the club that he and Henry Cavill skydive in, or the sound effects that Rebecca Ferguson's motorcycle makes in I think Paris. I don't remember anymore.
it is Paris.
What city?
Yeah, Paris.
Yeah, like the sound design of that scene, like bro.
Yeah, speaking of Rebecca Ferguson, is fantastic in this movie. I think this is her at her best in this franchise, which is not not a bad thing because she's great in all the other ones too. I just think she's like especially at her best here. She has more to do and all that. And I love that in this movie, she's kind of the one that's uh, disavowed because theoretically, the whole movie, Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt is also just working for the government the whole movie, and she's the one that got disavowed because of the what happened in the last movie. Yeah, I just love her character arc, how she kind of falls back into this kind of rogue agent mode, um, and her action
In
scenes
the
are
final
like
battle, they're all kind of rogue
incredible.
because Sloane wants to bring them all in.
Yeah,
Angela Bassett.
yeah, no, no, I know, but but until that point, she's the only one that's rogue. Like
Yeah.
until like the scene in the tunnels, and yeah, like Alec Baldwin's death scene is also great. Like when Henry Cavill takes him out, like you're like, oh fuck, and
And
yeah,
Michelle McMonaghan shows up again, which was a very nice,
With Wes
like just a
Bentley.
whole surprise. And when I was watching,
yeah,
like, oh my
and
god,
I felt
this
for
changes
Ethan.
everything.
Yeah, I felt for Ethan when she was like, "Oh, this is my husband," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like you could see like Ethan dying on the inside when she said that. But yeah, it's realistic. What was she gonna do? Like wait for the super spy that keeps dying every year, or
I
like I
think they
guess
did a good
almost.
job bringing closure to that story. That she's
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, I love you, but I'm happy here, and you're doing what you have to do." And I also think this movie really establishes the bond between him and Ilsa, because to me at least, Ilsa was always the other woman that he loved, like the Julia that he could actually be with
yeah,
because they're in the same world. Um,
yeah. I agree.
like the little like the way she like grabs his face at the end when he's sitting in the bed, like there's tension there. Like he's I don't think he's twice her age, but he's like
It's
they
not
have
far.
the chemistry.
He's twice the age of every woman in this movie. Every single woman.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I agree
I
with
think
you.
my
Their
favorite thing
relationship.
about maybe the third act or right before, it's like I'm gonna Ethan's like I'm gonna get that remote. It's like how the hell are you gonna get that remote? It's just like this impossible situation, and that's why it's called Mission Impossible. He has these impossible tasks, and we just love watching him accomplish it.
Yes, and Ving Rhames goes,
Same old
or
Ethan.
is it Simon Pegg goes? I find it better not to ask, and he just
Yeah,
keeps
that's
like
Simon Pegg.
running his
No,
way.
he says that to Ilsa. I find it best not to look. I think Luther actually really stands out in this one. I think they handled him the best here. I feel like here he was the most involved. He also has one of my favorite scenes, like my favorite dramatic scenes, is where he's talking to Ilsa about Ethan's past and like what Ethan has to do. And I just love the moment after they win, after he gets the remote, and he just says, "My man." It's just like you feel like decades of friendship and trust of like that Ethan can really achieve the impossible, and he didn't even see it. He just knows because they survived. He just goes,
Yeah.
"My man."
There's another great
It's perfect.
moment when him and Julia are trying to defuse the bomb. So she's like, "So how is he?" Same old Ethan, and he cuts to him like
You know,
flying the
same old
helicopter,
Ethan. Yeah, it cuts to him like
doing
flying the
something.
helicopter.
Yeah,
I also think that his scenes with Julia are always great, but like especially like you guys said that the one that they have to like they basically have to disarm a bomb together, which sounds insane for Julia to do because she's just this normal girl. And but yeah, they have like such emotional scenes because you can feel that they have this friendship that assumedly they built like between 3 and 4.
Yeah, because
um
Luther actually kind of trained her while they were in hiding in Ghost Protocol, so she knows a
yeah,
bit.
yeah. Okay, great. So let's do ratings for this one. I have a feeling that might be the one with the highest ratings.
yeah.
Luke, let's start with
For
you.
me, greatest action movie of all time, easy,
Whoa.
10 out of 10.
Wow.
For me, man, it's difficult not to give this movie a 10 out of 10. It's also one of my favorite action movies of all time. Fuck it, you guys convinced me. It was gonna be a 9.5. It's 10 out of 10.
I'm the same as Alan. I was going into this episode ready to be like 9.5, but like I can't. Yeah, I've I've seen it 4 times. 10 out of 10, bro. 10 out of 10.
Like this is
I must have seen it like
objectively
7 times at least.
one of the best action movies of all time, and this is objectively the best Mission Impossible movie of all time. I think like without any subjectivity of like favoritism and all that, like there is no doubt that this
Yeah,
is the best
it's
one.
just it's just it's very fire. That's all I will say. In the words
Super
of
hot
Travis
fire.
Scott, when he was describing Tenet.
It's very fire.
That's something that
Tenet
actually
is
Travis
fire.
Scott said while describing Tenet. It's very fire.
Man. Okay, are you guys ready to talk about a new one finally after 1 hour?
Finally, 5 years later, we're finally here.
So let's talk about Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, of course, came out in like 2 weeks ago or like a week ago
No, a week ago, a week ago.
when we're recording this a week ago. It stars, of course, again, Tom Cruise. We have a new Mission Impossible woman of the movie with Haley Atwell playing Grace. Ving Rhames comes back, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby, and newcomers we have the new villain S.I. Morales, also one of his main, I guess, bodyguard played by Clementiev. You also have Henry Czerny, Cher Wiggum. Like this
Goodrich, the goat,
this
is
movie is like,
back.
yeah,
He's
this movie is
back.
like packed. I'll start by saying that this movie did not disappoint. I watched it 2 days ago, I think. I unfortunately couldn't watch this one in IMAX. I hate living here because of that. In Brazil, I used to watch every single movie in IMAX. But still, like, it was a thrill ride. And this movie is long as hell, but it doesn't feel that long because every scene is just so amazing and so incredible. And yeah, I think this has one of the best action scenes in the entire franchise, actually, with the train scene. But we'll get to that in the spoiler section.
So this has been my most anticipated movie of the year for 3 years in a row. I remember I made
Yes!
I made my
Thank
list back
you!
in 2021. It was number
It
one,
was my number one in 2021!
and I made my list
Yes!
this year. And it's still number one. Like, okay, hopefully this is the year, and we'll see if the part two comes out next year. It's looking unlikely at the moment, but we can hope.
Yeah, I'm feeling more 25 for this one, unfortunately.
But yeah, this one absolutely did not disappoint. It was worth waiting every delay. It did not live up to Fallout, but I don't think anything can, quite frankly.
Yeah,
Uh, but I was very happy with what we got. Like I mentioned, this does feel like it's emulating the first one a little bit, especially with the finale train sequence. It's like the first one on a lot of steroids, and that airport scene especially reminded me of the first one, a very De Palma esque suspense scene. And of course, the newcomers, Haley Atwell, Palm Clementif. I showed my mom the trailer. She's like, "Oh, is that his wife?" And she has a good point. They are all these women in this franchise are brunettes, and they look kind of similar. So you can tell Tom Cruise may have a type of some sort. But no, it was absolutely electric. I didn't mind the part one of it. I did get enough finality from it. I know that's a problem with some people have, but in the year of part ones with Fast X and Across the Spider Verse, this was a good one.
I think also like something that came as a bit of a shock. I had no idea. I only watched one trailer for this one. By the way,
Yeah,
this
me
movie
too.
was never in my most anticipated list because I wasn't such a huge fan of the franchise before. After this rewatch, I'm so mad at myself that I wasn't more excited to see this movie
No,
because
this
like
was
now the next one is definitely my most anticipated movie of whatever year it comes out. It's something that I'm happy that they kept like under wraps is that the villain of the movie is not really SL Morales, is like an AI, which I don't know how the hell they predicted that one for 2023. And I think it's honestly one of the best uses of AI in a movie since like maybe Terminator. The way that they use it here, it's like menacing. Even though
it's
like you can never,
plausible too.
Yeah, it
yeah,
is quite plausible. It doesn't do anything super crazy either. Like it
yeah,
does things that AI nowadays
It's
does
kind of just like
just in
entering
an
mainframe. Like
advanced level.
yeah.
like
But like
also
I love when it goes into like physical form, kind of, at the club in Venice, and like that was just like scary shit.
That was funny.
I was like, fuck.
It looks like the image on like a dubstep audio video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like boom, boom, boom. But yeah, man, I was also anticipating this movie so much. The days leading up to it, the weeks leading up to it, the months leading up to it, I was so hyped for this movie, and it was everything I wanted. It was so satisfying. They were trying to go bigger and better each time, and I think it works. I mean, it's just
Wow.
the
This
visuals, the stuff.
scene
I think
was
this
in
one,
the first trailer, like 25 years ago. This shot.
yeah, literally. I think this one leans a little more into like the fun and the humor than Dead Reckoning did, but I think the fact that it uses a similar visual style and the music, and I loved everything about it. Every action scene was exciting. I didn't I After watching Fallout 4 times, I don't mind that the plot is so complicated and it's so hard to follow all the
They work
time.
it out. It's crazy, like, because it is super complicated, but like they always manage to like pull it off by the end of the movie. Like it's crazy. Um, wow. It's speaking of not speaking of, but you just put her face in it. Do you guys mind if we go into some spoilers from now? Do let's give it a score first, and then
Score
go into
first.
some spoilers. Okay, so Luke, let's start with you.
It is sitting pretty at a 9 out of 10, but like a high 9. And upon rewatch, I hope it can solidify that. It's the number 2 in my overall ranking, and my number
We'll,
2 of
we'll
the
talk
year.
about the rankings. We'll talk about the
Okay,
rankings now.
okay, okay.
Talk about ranking. Okay, it's sitting at a 10 right now. I think it at
Really?
least reaches the heights of Fallout. I don't know. I don't think it tops it. Definitely not objectively, but just like again the anticipation and the experience of watching it. I think there's some minor story gripes here and there, but like pretty minor overall. I thought everything about it was great, and I prefer this type of like to be continued than a Fast X to be
Oh yeah.
continued because it's
No,
not forced. It's
of
like they
course.
already have. Also, for like 2 hours and 43 minutes, I didn't care, bro. Like it was the fastest 2 hours of if you told me this is the same length as Dark Knight Rises, I'd be like, shut the hell up. Because it's also a great movie, just a lot slower.
Okay, so I'm gonna go actually in the middle of you guys, and I'm gonna go 9.5.
Mine's a
This
high
movie.
9, so you're going above, below me even.
Sounds like an energy drink, a high nine.
Ooh.
So I will say now that we're going into spoiler territory, I'm gonna explain why this movie doesn't get a 10 for me. It's because of Ilsa. That's the only thing wrong with this movie, in my opinion. Because I had a fucking blast watching this movie, but I hated watching what the fuck they did to my second favorite character in this franchise. It was clear as day to see them like switching her out for Haley Atwell right in front of our eyes, and Tom Cruise like producing it and just switching them out right in
He's
front
not wrong.
No.
You're not wrong, bro.
He
right in
isn't.
front of us. It was like clear as day. Like you could see him as a producer just like going like that,
You can
like
only have
kind of
one
flying
brunette
the
on the team. Only one brunette.
yeah. So that for me, I thought that was like they kind of did her dirty considering her history with this
Yeah.
franchise. I wouldn't mind both of them on the team. I thought that was like I get that they wanted to kill someone off for the like effect of like the part one of the heroes died and now they have to like get revenge in part two and all that shit. But like yeah, I was very much not happy with that at
I think
all.
it's justified if the next movie is the last one
It's not.
because
They already
It's not.
confirmed that it's not.
Unless he's
see
bullshitting
that's
us
the thing.
and
Like if you're making a bunch more and now you just can't have Elsa, that sucks. But I think like if this was the Infinity War of it, because that's what this is being teased as, like the one before the finale. So that's why I felt like okay, great. They're like they're actually
The
bringing
only
death.
way
I
that
was
they
actually
can
convinced
redeem
Luther
this,
was gonna die in this movie. Like for
I thought
like
it
so
might have
long
been
before I saw
Benji.
it, I thought Luther was gonna die
yeah, I
for
thought it
sure.
was Benji too. I honestly thought it would be Benji,
That would
but
have been
like
sad though.
the only way that they can redeem this is something that only them could pull off, which is like a flashback in the next movie that she was someone else wearing a mask. That's the only way that they
Who would
can
it be?
redeem this
Jeremy
stupid
Renner?
movie. Yeah, but that would have been bad too, because then he would have died as well. I don't know, and maybe it was like their plan all along. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Because, like I said, she was like he was in love with her. Let's be honest, he loved her, and they only just had him be like he was like looking out at the sunset for
Exactly.
what.
And 5 minutes later, he was like hugging Haley Atwell like she was the last woman on Earth.
Yeah, now she's his girl.
5 minutes later, man, like literally, like a day, not even a day passed. They were like already like almost like smooching, and I was like,
It
come
was
on,
like
man,
Nick Cannon
not
with all
even in
these
the ground
girls.
yet.
I
Yeah,
want
so
to give
that's
a
my only thought.
mention to Palm Clemente, who was incredible in this film. Like she very much a Bond esque sort of villain
I agree.
with just popping up in places and trying to beat up the main character. And man, she's just crazy, and it works so perfectly. And we might, it looks like we're going to be seeing her back. So
Yeah, thank God.
very excited for that. I was very
I
relieved
actually,
when she had the pulse.
That's such a
I
classic
actually
movie
think
thing. Oh, she has a pose. Okay,
you know what Shea Wiggum is really good in this
I
movie.
love Shea
He's
Wiggum.
actually great.
He
he's
turns up in
great.
a movie. I'm
Um,
like, it's him, the guy from
I feel
Kong
like Shea
Skull
Wiggum
Island
just
who
has like
blew
such a
himself up.
dad energy to him. I don't know. I just feel
I
like he
love
plays the
he's
most.
trying to get to catch Tom Cruise the whole movie, even though he like knows he can't do it. But like it's kind of like like when the dog tries to follow like a moving car, like that dog is never gonna catch that car, but like
Yeah, the
he's
whole
so
movie
happy
is a
doing it
bit
that he just
like a
leave
cat
it.
and mouse game meets a Mexican standoff. That's how
Oh, but the
I
mouse is
describe it.
trying to go after the cat.
Yeah,
That's what this one is.
But yeah,
very
like
much
Also,
yeah, he
so.
was great.
also with Cy Morales, I think
It's a good
he's like
villain.
second best villain maybe. I thought like his voice
I
is
wouldn't go that
chilling.
far.
I think he
I
might be the
like that he
third
works for the entity.
or fourth.
He's like his human representative.
Like
Yeah,
he's like he's on the entity's leash. He wants to leash up the entity. Like that's what he wants to do. But also they didn't really explain like
he's definitely not gonna do that.
No,
they established that he's sadistic and that he wants to rule the world. But like what does he want to do once he rules the world? Like get free ice cream all the time?
I want to know exactly why he killed that woman in the beginning of the movie in like the 90s.
well,
Because
there
I
was
don't
gonna be
think
an extended flashback sequence, but I guess they said no, let's not do that.
maybe they're doing that for the next one because
Maybe.
like it would be like one of the reviews, like I guess who that woman was, or like it's also kind of crazy that like none of the Mission Impossible movies really touched on that for a while. That the reason that people go to be in the Mission Impossible movies is because they fucked up, and like it was either prison for the rest of your life or becoming this rogue agent type situation. And
If
they
I feel
you're
never
like
really.
Benji just like pirated a movie or a video game. Like
Oh, for sure.
if you're
And
good
like
at
he really just
at
like wanted
crime,
to
you're probably
watch
good at saving the
like
world. So
he really just wanted to watch like the Mummy, so he like pirated it online.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like
then I
I'm
hope I
glad it
get
was just.
recruited for the IMF in that case.
Oh yeah,
Me too.
13-year-old Alan was on Pirate Bay like the whole day, like downloading illegal movies. Um,
Oh, they got him.
Oh no, it's the entity. Wait, what just happened?
What happened?
Okay.
Oh, that was weird. The
Oh,
timing's
there he
pretty
is.
good.
There he is.
fuck me, I'm back.
The entity got you.
The entity did again. Actually, it was me being stupid and pressing something in my computer. But I want a different villain kind of to come up in the next one to be kind of like behind the entity, like a real person.
Like Nicole
Like
Kidman,
I
Didn't
feel
they
like
maybe.
establish that like Carrie Elves was like facilitating its creation, and then the entity went rogue,
yes,
and then he wanted to buy it so he could make America like a super nation, which I thought that was really menacing. And they established that right away with Henry Czerny's character in the conversation, and I thought that was just great.
I thought it was great, like the twist in the train that they were both there, like both of the government agents, like from the beginning of the movie, like the CIA head and the IMF head, and like that they had this parallel like plots going on with the entity. That's not like spoiled like in the beginning of the movie. Like they kind of hint at something,
Yeah, that
but like that
submarine.
came completely by surprise, like on the
Mhm.
train when they both appeared. Even like the whole thing, like I did not remember, like you guys said, that like the White Widow was like the daughter of that one dude. I completely forgot about that.
Vanessa Redgrave.
That one
Yeah,
dude, Vanessa Redgrave.
nice
That
mistake.
one dude, Vanessa. So I completely forgot about that. So like he goes that like that they know they that he knew their parents, and like they vacation together and all that. So I thought that was like a cool way to like tie like sort of like made this word bigger by kind of like making it smaller. Yeah, like yeah, this movie is pretty great, isn't it?
And that had a very funny moment where Haley Atwell pretending to be Vanessa Kirby is like, the next time we see each other, I probably won't remember this conversation, so better not
Yeah,
bring it up. There's just little moments like
even
that.
Also,
yeah,
I love how the villain names go from like Kurt Hendricks, Solomon Lane, John Lark, Gabriel.
great. Yeah, Gabriel is such a bad villain name, and they're like, he's the worst person in the world, Gabriel, and I'm like, okay, I guess.
John Lark ain't
Um,
nothing compared to Gabriel.
I don't know the validity of these rumors, but there are rumors that Cavill's returning in part 2
I have not seen that anywhere.
Please,
somehow, some way.
must have some crazy source. He got
I
a
have a
hook through
crazy.
the
I really hope
forehead.
not. Honestly, it would ruin the last movie. It would be terrible in my opinion. And he would
Listen,
have to
he
come
would
back as like
probably
RoboCop because his whole body got burned.
This
Because
is
he's
what
not
Fast
Gal
and Furious
Gadot.
thinks it is.
He's not Han.
no, but like I really do hope that there's another villain in the next one. Like I don't think Gabriel was strong enough. I like the entity, but again, I really do want it to be like someone behind it, like a master plan that like somehow involves all the Mission Impossible movies and everything
Maybe it
that
was
is
Emilio
gonna.
Estevez from the first movie.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
No, it
uh,
was uh,
no, it's
it
John
was Aaron
Woo.
Paul.
John Woo, the villain. I'm
So
excited for
basically,
Haley
Cipher
Atwell.
from Fast 8.
I love her ending in this movie. They talk about like how they got to be in the IMF, and like you get to this choice in your life that's kind of your only option. But it seems like she has another option, but then she kind of like can't go through with like stealing the money, and then like after that she's like, no, fuck it, I wanna help them. So she becomes a part of the IMF in the great scene that she goes, I'm ready to comply, and like, I accept or something like
And I
that.
choose to accept.
I,
She says, "I choose to accept."
I choose to accept. There you go. I choose to accept, and I was like, "Ah, fuck yeah. Any other speculations for the next one before we move on? Anything that you guys want to
Mm.
happen in part 2?
We know he's gonna climb a plane, like an old timey biplane, and then we'll see you at the movies or whatever. So that's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah, yeah.
spectacular. Uh, is that the crazy thing that McQuarrie and Cruz have been teasing for the next one? We'll see. Maybe there's something even crazier, but whatever it is, I will be there no matter what.
He jumps into a volcano, a live volcano, and he dies. Let's talk about our ranking of the Mission Impossible movies. So let's start with Gal, then Luke, then I'll go.
Okay. So at the very bottom is MI2. Number 6 is the first one, and then 5 is Mission Impossible 3, and then number 4 is Ghost Protocol. Mission Impossible 4 at 4, but it's still a great movie. We already raved about it.
Yeah, your mind's exactly the same as Gulls. There's a big gap between seventh and sixth place being MI2 and MI1. But yeah, MI2, MI1, MI3, MI4. Better every time.
Okay, so for me, there's a slight change. We have the same bottom three. Uh, of course, the movie that should have never seen the light of day, MI2, in last place. Then MI1, then MI3. But then for me is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. That's my fourth one.
Third, I'd say Rogue Nation, and then second is this one, Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Once again, I concur with Gull.
Wow, you guys have the
Rogue
exact
Nation
same
and
list.
Dead Reckoning. We'll see if Dead Reckoning can keep that spot after a rewatch, but I think it will. I think it
I
will.
wonder what our number one is.
So for me, I don't know if this is going to be contentious, but for me, number three right now is That Reckoning. That sits at number three, and my number two is Ghost Protocol. I love Ghost Protocol so freaking much, and I know that this is going to be like a little controversial, but like that's definitely my second one. And sometimes, honestly, it even goes up to my first one because of all the nostalgia I have attached to it. Like I think this might have been the first big action movie that I actually fell in love with, and that plays a huge role into it being sometimes my favorite, sometimes my second. But after this rewatch, I have to be slightly more objective and put it in number two.
And number one is
And
Fallout. Okay, great.
Almost Fallout.
number one for all of us is
We
Fallout.
talked about it a lot. We don't need to mention it anymore.
Yeah, so number one is Fallout for all of us, and probably for most Mission Impossible fans.